Every year around the Halloween season, I am sent this photo at least once. And that is because I am a cat lady through and through. I had a black cat for 20 years. She was my childhood cat and she was the sweetest. And I currently have 4 cats. Here is the photo I am talking about, and you may or may not be familiar with it. It was for a black cat audition that took place in 1961 for a Vincent Price film. And that sidewalk that the photo was taken on happened right here in Hollywood. I wanted to first show you across the street is the historic Paramount Studios, and right here is Raleigh Studios. It's gone by many names, but it's been that since 1979. Unlike larger studios like Paramount, it's predominantly served as a studio rental space, though a lot of history has happened right here. Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks worked here, the Best Picture winner, The Best Years of Our Lives was filmed here, Sinatra made a Western, and beyond. It really deserves its own video. In 1961, a Vincent Price anthology film was in need of a black cat. The film was called Tales of Terror and featured stories adapted from Edgar Allan Poe. And one of those was called The Black Cat.
Then you'll enjoy the Black Cat's sardonically humorous tale. It all started at the Vintners Convention, where the lover of wine met the professional wine taster and introduced him to his wife, a darling who delighted in dalliance.
That photo I first showed you took place right across the street here in front of what is now a security building. Maybe it was then at the time too, I'm not sure. When it was used by the production company Alta Vista Productions, Raleigh was then known as Producer's Studio. The 3 stories featured in the film only took 3 weeks to film. As I'm walking down this sidewalk, I'm just imagining all the cats that once were lined up here, and also marveling at the fact that in the photos, none of them look like they were fighting. 1961, 152 black cats lined this sidewalk with stars in their eyes, hoping to land the role. Their nervous owners patiently waiting for their turn to be seen by casting and by the movie stars of the film, because as reported by the Los Angeles Times in 1961, the stars played with each cat that came through. We have Life magazine photographer Ralph Crane to thank for knowing about this over 60 years later. He was sent here to document the moment 152 black cats lined this sidewalk, which even in Hollywood, you don't see every day. Photographer Ralph Crane took about 300 shots that day, which is a lot when you consider this was film photography. And only one of those was published in Life magazine in December of 1961. But thanks to the internet, we have access to a lot of the images he took that day, and we're gonna line some of those up. You'll get a glimpse of this building and the background of some of them. And these first ones I'm going to show you, it seems like there used to be a retaining wall right up at the front where the security office is. It's no longer here, but I think that this is where it was. This next shot, I couldn't quite get the angle because I'd need to back more into Raleigh Studios here, and I think the security office would come out and stop me if I did that. But you could see the telephone pole is still right there, which is pretty neat. I do wonder if they're watching me and are wondering what the heck I'm doing, but I'll say in my defense, this spot is actually on Google Maps, so it's a known spot. In some of these photos, you can see more defined lines in the sidewalk, but over time, those have eroded down. But if you look real close, you can make out some of those smaller squares still. I mentioned only one photo was used in that Life magazine issue, and the article came at the table of contents of the magazine. And I wanted to just share with you one part of it. It said, As far as anyone could remember, it was the biggest invitation to bad luck ever seen in one place. With sinister mews and baleful stares, a herd of black cats descended on a Hollywood studio, answering newspaper ads recruiting performers for a new version of Poe's scary classic, The Black Cat. The title role calls for a cat who gets plastered up in a wall with a murdered woman and reveals the crime with its ghostly mewing. And the last line I thought was amusing. Although the owners seemed on good enough terms with their own pets, many took pains not to let any strange black cats cross their path. Much in the fashion of Hollywood, it's about who you know. And none of those 152 cats landed the role, and that is because the position had already been filled by a well-known professional cat. 7 lucky extras deemed to have the meanest look in their eyes were selected to be understudies, though. Now, I don't know exactly which soundstage was used in here. From this vantage point, we only see what is soundstage 2 today. And I wanted to show, though, some of the photos that were taken inside during the audition process. They had a cat come out a window, walk along a ledge, and also I'm going to share a few more photos of Vincent Price and Peter Lorre hanging out with the kitties. There's a photo of women in line with their cats waiting to be seen once they got inside, and I'm just still very impressed as a cat owner that all of those cats seem to be getting along. Another anecdote that the LA Times reported at the time, they said one woman needed first aid after a cat next to her decided he didn't like her leg and scratched it. Before some of these cats could even be considered, they were turned away due to white paws or noses. There's even a photo of a woman with a white cat, and at first I didn't know this, so I wondered what audition that lady was going to. But according to the LA Times article from 1961, that cat was there to keep a black cat pal company. All right, that does it for today's short Halloween-inspired video. I hope that you enjoyed. Thank you so much for coming along with me and walking in film history here in the heart of Hollywood. And until that next video, I'm wishing you a super swell day. And because it is October, happy Halloween.